So, Jack, another week in the Premier League is basically your program. So that's why I named it Premier League with Jack. So hopefully from now on we're going to have more frequent episodes for our audiences. Where shall I start?
A good place to start is probably Newcastle, because that's all the news has been about Newcastle the last couple of weeks. Every single day it's been all about Newcastle, what's going to happen. So maybe we should start with what actually happened.
Let's start with Newcastle then.
Let's start with Newcastle. Let's start with what happened. So
yes.
2 weeks ago, we're filming on a Thursday. 2 Thursdays ago, the big news, the takeover. Mike Ashley, the old previous owner, is gone. Now we've got this new public investment fund from Saudi Arabia, very controversial, but they're now the new owners. 80% is from that fund, and then you've got other wealthy people involved in the consortium. And Newcastle fans were celebrating in the streets. They were opening cans of beer. They were just having a big party. And then since then, it's been typical Newcastle drama. There's been Steve Bruce has still been the manager for a couple of weeks. He's only just been fired. He's obviously he was in charge for the game, but they had lots of abuse on social media. There were people wanting him to go straight away, and he didn't go. And although it was celebrations, it was all sort of tinged with a bit of sadness for the manager, because it was a bit of a difficult situation. He didn't know whether he was going to stay in the job or not, even though he was told he was. There was no clarification publicly, so he was in charge for the Tottenham game, and then Newcastle lost the Tottenham game, and there was no other situation really but for him to be. Well, it's for him to depart, for him to be sacked, but he wasn't sacked. It was on mutual terms, so he's going to get a nice payout as well.
Mutual terms with £8 million.
£8 million. It's not a bad severance package, is it? But I don't think he's going to go back into football. I think that might be his last job. He said it probably is going to be his last job.
He's 60 years old.
He's 60 years old. Why not just enjoy the money and have a nice retirement? I think he probably will come back at some point, because they're always tempted back in, the managers, aren't they? They go on forever.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
It's been a busy few weeks.
The thing is, there's no magic wand in sports, so it's not okay. Money talks, but just to compare it with Man City, it took them 4 years until Guardiola came, and then things changed, and it was a gradual change of things. You cannot just press a button and all of a sudden all these Mbappes of this world will just join Newcastle. So you, the Newcastle fans, should bear this in mind. It's not it's a gradual process. It will take some time, and it's the whole structure. It's not just the coach, the head coach, and changing some players. It's the training facilities, which I understand are horrible. This is what the fans are saying. I don't know, I haven't seen them.
Yeah, the training facilities, just on the training facilities. Alan Shearer was on the radio the other day, and he was talking about the training facilities. He was saying that building and the entire facilities are the same from when he signed 30 years ago. It's just not changed at all. And there's only just been a lick of paint. They've just done
actually paint. There was a comparison between Newcastle and Leicester City. Leicester City, they invested in their training facilities as well. It's not just a stadium. So it's
a brand new state-of-the-art facility for Leicester. And Newcastle need to be above Leicester, competing with the top teams. Your team, Liverpool, Man City. They need to be right at the top. It's going to take a lot of time and investment. Man City, when they got taken over, a long time.
You need to bear in mind the financial fair play. So the new owners, they need to be really careful. That's why we have seen an announcement by the Premier League regarding the sponsorship money as well. They don't want to have another Man City situation with a sponsorship from basically the owners, just to avoid the financial fair play rules.
Yeah, but also with the financial fair play, because Newcastle aren't in the Europa League or Champions League, they get an extra bit of money to spend because of how the rules work. So they've got a little bit of time on their side, but I don't think they're going to spend 100, 200, 300 million straight away. They're going to try and build a long-term project, but nobody knows yet because they're still assessing the business. They're still assessing it.
I think the main priority, Jack, is to stay in the Premier League.
That's object number one.
Yes, is the main priority of Newcastle, and then take it step by step. And it is a historic club. It's a big club. Everybody remembers Kevin Keegan, Alex Ferguson fight at the time, and we'll show you and this and that and the fighting spirit at the time,
and the entertainment as well.
Definitely. It's so it's good. It's good for the north because Sunderland is another club up there with a lot of problems. So it's an interesting project, and I'm sure we'll be here to watch it unfold. Okay, well, and this week. Last weekend we had Man United 4-2 defeat by Leicester City. My team was really very sloppy goals, and also last night I was watching them against Atalanta, another 2 sloppy goals, and if they don't sort out their defensive issues, Ronaldo is not going to be there every time to rescue.
No, and actually sloppy goals, but De Gea, he stopped a lot more. It could have been even worse for Man United, couldn't it, last night? The weekend,
it could have been 8-2. Never mind. I mean, he had some great saves. So it's and also last night as well. Everybody's saying about. I mean, the first half. Really, if they play like this against Liverpool on Sunday, they're going to be in big trouble.
Yes, they are. With Salah in such good form as well, and the front line.
Yes, because last year Liverpool had their issues, but now Mane and Salah, they are on fire, really, okay, it's a crunch period for Man United, a very difficult period because they have Tottenham away, they have Man City at home, they have the European matches, they have Arsenal in November. So November is really going to be make or break, in my opinion, of what is going to happen after that for Man United.
And what do you think about Ollie? Because Ollie's under a bit of pressure. He was 2-0 down. Imagine if you'd have lost last night, there would have been even more calls for him maybe to leave or to get somebody else in or somebody with a new vision. You're under a lot of pressure. He's under a lot of pressure, isn't he, at the moment?
Well, I watch a lot of commentary from different channels, Sky and BT, ESPN, and everybody's attacking Oli, even Paul Scholes now.
I heard that last night, yeah.
He was really at it, Paul Scholes, and this is football. It's a result-oriented entertainment business, whatever, and you need to deliver every single match. It's especially if you are Liverpool, Man United, Man City. If you don't deliver, you are out of the job, regardless. I mean, if you have a bad run, I mean, in back in the day, the fans, they were more patient with the coaches, and it was really unheard of to sack a coach in the middle of the season. But now we have the bookies, and apart from after they give the odds for who's going to win the league. They already have who's going to be the first coach sacked.
It is. It's
or
so much pressure,
who's going to be the next coach sacked.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no time. They don't get any time. But Ollie's had a lot of time now, hasn't he? Considering
and £400 million
and a lot of money. Yeah,
a lot of money. So he has to.
And Ronaldo now.
He has to deliver.
And he's got Ronaldo. Ronaldo doesn't want to be fourth. He wants to be winning the league, doesn't he?
Okay, so everybody loves Ollie and his history at the club, but everybody's questioning his credentials, his experience, basically, coming from Cardiff and Molde, and he's questioning his experience, especially compared with Klopp and Tuchel and Guardiola. So this is the thing: he has to deliver.
But is it his fault? Because I was looking at the stats. They were showing the stats on Sky Sports the other day, and they were showing on Monday Night Football. They were showing the players who have the most yards, the most pressures. So the most times, or the most times every game on average, that they pressurised the defence from the front. And there was no Man United players in the top 6, top 7. It was 8th, I think, was Bruno Fernandes, and after that, it was Jadon Sancho, and he's hardly played. So Ronaldo, Sancho is okay. So Ronaldo, you've got Fernandes, you've got Rashford. None of them are pressurising from the front. So is it just bypassing the front players?
Yes, I saw that stat, but last night I was really surprised by Ronaldo. His work rate was unbelievable.
He was tracking back, wasn't he? Like
he
crazy.
Was tracking back, even back in front of the hair. It was unbelievable. He really wanted it. You feel when the players get out on the pitch, sometimes you feel, it's not going to be their day. They are lethargic, and in the first half, a lot of heads were dropped down. You could see that even from the TV. Say, okay, where is the fighting spirit here? And the only two players that were really shouting, actually, was Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo. So he's the good thing is Rashford is back. He looked lively last night, even against Leicester. So if they find the balance, but this 4-2-4-2, the way they played last night is I don't know. It was really easy in the first half for Atalanta players to just the transition from the defense to attack. So they need to sort it out, because even the coaching staff now they get attacked with the tactics they use. It's not just Ole, so it's the whole coaching
the whole
staff.
unit.
It's the whole unit. So we'll see how it pans out, but definitely, okay, I agree with you. It's been 2.5 years. If he doesn't deliver this year, or if something really terrible happens and there is a run of defeats, maybe the owners will change their mind and make changes. Who knows? It is football. Okay. How about Chelsea? They were really impressive in Europe, and it looks like they're going to be one of the favourites for the league.
They're looking strong. They're looking strong, and they've been performing. They've been winning games where maybe, well, I say they've been performing. They have and they haven't. At times, they've not looked like they look like they were under Lampard sort of last couple of seasons, where they didn't look like they're going to grind out the win, but they did. That's the difference. The new manager has got that spirit in the players, and the players seem to be quite together on it. They're grinding out the victories. They're getting the 3 points when they sometimes, like at the Brentford game, they were under so much pressure towards the end. It was an absolute bombarding of their goal. Mendy was unbelievable, the goalkeeper in goal. There's some people saying, why is he not on the Ballon d'Or shortlist? Because he's probably one of the best top 3 goalkeepers now in the world. He was incredible. But so they managed to get that victory, whereas maybe in seasons gone by, since they last won the title, they would have drawn it or maybe even lost that game. And then last night in the Champions League, they were very impressive. However, there's a bit of a problem now, because it was an expensive win. They won 4-0 against Malmo, but Lukaku and Werner went off injured. And the coach, Tuchel, said they're going to be out for several games. So they've got strength in depth. They're going to have people come in who's going to help them out, but they're losing Lukaku and Werner, the 2 main attacking players for them. It's going to be difficult for them. How are they going to cope? That'll be interesting to see at the weekend. Without those 2 at the top of the pitch, how will it affect their style? It's like Manchester United losing Ronaldo, for example, isn't it? Or Salah leaving Liverpool from injury. So I'll be interested to see how they cope, but I have been impressed with them. Another team I've been impressed with, of course, Liverpool, and that's who your opponents are at the weekend. Salah's on fire. Firmino got a hat-trick last week. Mane's looking back to his best, really. He had a bit of a poor season last season, but so all the front three, and you've got Diogo Jota. They've got Diogo Jota in backup as well, so I think they look quite strong.
I'm going to be there, so next week I'm going to tell you, about the atmosphere, and watch the game live at Old Trafford. So,
can your defence cope? Can Maguire and whoever's with him cope with those three?
The thing is, with Varane, they look a bit more stable, but without him and Maguire coming back from injury, is not the same defense. But it's not that is as you said before, United as a defensive unit is not just the two centre halves and left and right back. It's just as a defensive unit. The midfielders, they are definitely accused that they have too many individual players and not players that play as a team to defend from the off. Your attacking players, not just your defensive midfield players as well. So we will see. Sometimes I have seen that in this type of games, form doesn't matter. It's two old rivals, and it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. I'm sure about this.
And it'll be a battle. It'll be a battle.
It will be a battle. Yes. And on the other hand, we have seen this at Old Trafford. If the opponent score early on in the game, it's like being the silence is deafening.
Like a graveyard atmosphere, nothing.
Exactly. So in his even against Atalanta, in the first half they were put off the pitch, the players. So it can turn against you. So it's going to be interesting. Another team that really impressed me so far is Man City. Without an out-and-out striker. Everybody is discussing this again this year. Unbelievable. Of course, they were not playing in Europe against a very difficult opponent, but to go away from home and score so many goals from different players is really amazing. Maybe it's their year. Every year we say it's their year to win the Champions League. So
we say that every time. They got close by getting to the final, obviously, but I think Pep's playing like a Spanish philosophy, where when I say that, I mean the national team. They don't have any out-and-out strikers either, really. And they didn't use that at the Euros. They got to the Nations League final, not having a striker.
He was trying to sign Harry Kane.
He was trying to sign Harry Kane.
So maybe his thinking was to change it a little bit.
Maybe, and he didn't succeed, and he lost Aguero, but you've got Jesus, but Jesus is more like a winger now. So there isn't.
Yeah, but Aguero, he wasn't playing last year as well. So it's.
So maybe he'll go back in for Kane or somebody else next summer. I don't know, but they've got goals all over the team, even in the fullback positions. Cancelo last season was banging them in from the edge of the box, the fullback. So they've got Diaz who comes up from the back and heads it in the corners. Everyone could score a goal in that team.
Jack Sterling was really good at Euros, and he cannot even
can't even get a look in.
Yes, so it's he's got depth in the squad, so he can chop and change and do whatever he likes. Pepper. So
got two teams,
and also. You have Foden and this new kid, Palmer. So unbelievable goal the other night. So it's just one of the favourites to win the league, definitely.
It's going to be close. I think Man City, yes. Liverpool and Chelsea, it's going to be hopefully a really exciting finish, really close season this season. That's what we want, entertaining. Right to the end, we want a battle, we want a title battle. It's not happened as much the last few years, but we like when Liverpool and Man City were tied, really close a couple of seasons ago. We want that again. We want it. We want a relegation battle that's tasty, and we want a Premier League title race as well. That's going to be interesting because it keeps everyone interested right till the end.
Yes, that's why the Premier League is really exciting. It says everybody can beat everybody else on their day. So this is why we love Premier League. You need to sometimes grind out the wins. Okay, it's good if you combine it with entertainment, but it shows that you are a championship type of mentality. You've got this type of mentality. So we have this weekend the local derby, West Ham against Tottenham. So it's interesting match as well.
I think that's going to be an interesting game. I'd like to see how West Ham perform because they're looking quite good again this season. So they've got obviously Tottenham, the good win away at Newcastle. Really, considering the atmosphere that they had to deal with in the first 5-10 minutes, they came back really strong. Kane scored his first Premier League goal of the season. Apparently he scored. He's into double figures this season. I think he scored 10 goals, but none of them were in the Premier League before the last weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on again in a big game against West Ham, who look pretty strong. I think West Ham, they've got the Europa League. They've been doing okay in that as well, actually. Like Leicester have done as well, but it's always interesting to see how these teams, because Tottenham have the Conference League as well this week, how these two teams fare when they've got European games in midweek. That always seems to affect teams. So it'll be interesting to see the two of them, out the two, which one performs better on the back of a European match. So I look forward to that one. I'll be watching that one as well.
This is when you need to have at least 24 players to keep changing from the European matches to the Premier League matches. You really need competition in places if you want to do well in both fronts. Otherwise, it's not going to be.
Because we've seen in other teams over the years how, say, teams have got into the Europa League. I remember a few years ago, Wolves got into the Europa League, did really well, got quite far, but it really affected their league form. And that can and Burnley a few years before that, they got into the Europa League unbelievably, and that affected their league form even more than usual. So,
because on average you need to play above more than 50 matches each player. So
and
a lot of foot plus the internationals. So that's a lot of
It's a lot to ask.
Definitely. They are not machines.
They're not machines. No. Just a quick note on the teams at the bottom. Norwich. It doesn't look good for Norwich. They drew 0-0, but they just don't look like they've got the power, the firepower up front. They don't look like they've got the squad depth or the quality. They're a championship team really playing in the Premier League, so things don't look good for them. Watford, they've got a new manager, Claudio Ranieri, of course, won the Premier League with Leicester, and former Chelsea Roma. He's been around the block a bit.
Watford, in the recent years, they keep changing their coaching staff, which
so many times.
Is not good. It's not good,
but it seemed to work for them because they keep coming up and down all the time. So they've had more success than you'd expect from such managerial, instability. But we'll be interesting to see he gets on with the owners, the Italian owners, the Pozzo family. So let's see how long he lasts compared to all the other managers. He's getting on a bit now. I think he's 69, 70 now himself. I think he was 70 last week, Claudio Ranieri. So how long he lasts remains to be seen.
And one other team that is doing really well, started really well, is Everton with Ancelotti. With Benitez. He's a master tactician. Everybody knows.
He lives and breathes football. He looks at it in so much detail. Even when he's at home, he's sat watching the football. He hardly ever hangs out with his family. He's always watching football. He loves the game, and his attention to detail is really strong. They've just had a bit of a problem here because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's got an injury as well, so he'll be a big miss for them as well. One other team, just to note, Wolves. Last I think they won 3 of the last 4 games. They've been really impressive. They come back from 2-0 down against Aston Villa at the weekend. They got 3 goals in the last 10 minutes. So they're one to watch now because they had a new manager after Nuno went to Spurs. Under a bit of pressure, they lost the first 4 games of the season. and now they've come back 3 or 4 games of the season. Now they've come back, they're looking quite strong. So how will they fare? Will they be top half of the table? That's surely what they're going to be aiming for. So one to watch out for at the moment is Wolves. Sure.
Okay, Jack. Anything else to say for this week?
I think we covered pretty much everything. I mean, there's lots more to discuss about Newcastle, but we will see how it gets on. Maybe by the next episode, Newcastle might have a new manager in place. So we'll see how that plays out this week.
I think if they manage to hire a new manager, then it would be clearer which school of thought they will follow.
Exactly.
If it's an Italian, and the history of the coach, maybe
and the profile as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This is the profile is very important to understand which pathway they will follow. So it's definitely interesting times for Newcastle, and we'll keep following the developments this week, and hopefully we'll come back next week and have more things to discuss.
And also your thoughts from the game that you're going to, the big game, Man United Liverpool. Would be interesting to see how you make of it, what you sense from being in the crowd, the atmosphere, what it feels like.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to seeing your reaction next week.
Yes, a few friends ask me. I've been to Old Trafford many times, and a lot of my friends they compare it with what is going on here in Cyprus, and I say you cannot compare it. This is an event. Going to a football match in England is an event. People are they get out of the football grounds and they start talking about next weekend's matches. So it starts from early in the morning in the pubs until late at night.
It's a way of life. It's a way of life.
It definitely is a way of life. It's not like, but okay. Sometimes big clubs with a foreign following is not the same like it used to be back in the 80s when I started going to football matches in England. It's bigger grounds, better facilities, definitely, but you also get a lot of new every week. You get the new fans in the stadium, and it's a new experience for them, and it doesn't feel the same atmosphere, even though maybe it's not. When I started going to Old Trafford, the capacity of the ground was 55,000, and they were getting 35,000 fans in the ground because it was not doing that well at the time. It was before the Premier League, but these were hardcore fans. Now you get all sorts of fans from different parts of the world.
The tourists, the football tourists.
Yes, exactly. So it's not the same.
See a lot of that on the weekend.
Yes. Maybe you have a season ticket, and every time you go to the match, it's supposed to be all season tickets around you, ticket holders, and you see all the time different people sitting next to you. So it looks like the tickets are going round as well. But it happens with 75,000 capacity. It's not going to be definitely a club from Manchester with the population of Manchester. Most of the fans are from outside Manchester.
It's global.
It's everywhere. It's not the Chelsea. That's why they go to all these tours around the globe for pre-season, because it's big business for them. It's not the same. So okay, Jack, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.
Look forward to it. Thank you.